Okay, another thing we had this unit is proportions. Okay, you're finding the value for x that makes a proportion true. This one's an easy one. You can just cross multiply and divide. Okay, I mean, if I know one ratio and the other ratio just has an x paired with another number, it's just cross multiply and divide. So 3 times 7 is 21, divided by 10 is 2.1. So x equals 2.1. That's not hard. But this one's a complex proportion, okay? You can't just cross multiply and divide here. That isn't going to work, okay? I want you to circle diagonally. The cross products are equal, meaning circle that, okay? And then you have to label this A and the one with it in the circle is B. Not AB, it's AB and then C and D. So you make an equation out of this. 2 parentheses on each side. Okay. Okay, so on one part, we know that we're taking A times B. You got to be multiplying diagonally, and on the other side, C times D. It's got to be like that, diagonally. Cross multiply across. So x plus 2 is the A expression, and then B is just the value of 8. C is 3. And D is 2x minus 6. We're going to distribute, there's a plus there, so we drop it, and we distribute 8 to 2 and 8 to x. So 8 times x would be 8x, and 8 times 2 would be 16. Now on the other side, I don't like that minus, make it plus negative. Drop that, 3 times 2x, and 3 times negative 9. So that'd be 6x, and then negative 18. Okay, so we have x's on opposite sides. Let's take out the smaller one. So I'm minus 6x from 8x. So that's 2x plus 16 equals negative 18. Now get the x by itself. You're just going to have to minus 16 and divide by 2. So it's going to be negative 34, divide by 2, divide by 2, and x equals negative 17. Okay, these next ones are easy if you remember how to set them up. What percent of 37 is 111? It's a percent sentence. You use a percent proportion. It's a percent over 100%, and then over here we put is over of. So the actual percent, I don't know because it says what percent, so that's x. Now I go to my of, and I'm taking the percent of 37. And then 111 is your is. So my percent's going to be higher than 100 because 111 is higher than 37. So 100 times 111 divided by 37, I got 300. Okay. 300, and since x is a percent, it's 300%. Okay, what is 72% of 150? Same setup. The x is going to be in a different place, so is over of. So percent 72. So after of we have 150, and then the is what we don't know. Okay. So multiply and divide. 72 times 150 divided by 100, and I got 108. So 72 over 100 equals 108 over 150. You don't put a percent. You are not finding the percent. Okay, 60% of what number is 102? 100% is of. So the percent is 60. Okay, after of we see what, the word what. So that would be my x, and then 102 is the is. Okay. So I cross multiply and divide because you don't know what number you're taking the percent of to get 102. So 100 times 102 divided by 60. I got 170. And boom. Okay, next page does not take long if you know how to set it up. Okay, these are similar triangles. They are proportional. Okay, meaning I can use a proportion to solve for x. So I look at 12, or you can do x first or 12 first. Now go match 12 up with what it goes with on the other side. It'd be 12 matches up with 8, so 12 over 8. then X matches up with 12. So if I'm going 12 to 8, I go X over 12. Cross multiply and divide. So it's 12 times 12 divided by 8. It's going to be 18. Okay, now unit conversions. Convert 2.25 miles to yards. There is 1,760 yards in 1 mile. Now, this can be used as a proportion. So this is your rate right here. So that's your rate. You put it on your first ratio. 1,760 and 1. You got to put the labels, yard and miles, because then that tells me over here it also has to go yards, miles. Okay. I'll look over here. It says 2 yards, so X is the yards, and how many miles do we have? We have 2 1/4, 2.25. So just like that. Because if 1,760 yards is 1 mile, we're trying to find out how many yards are in 2.25 miles. So cross multiply and divide. 1,760 times 2.25 divided by 1, 3,960 yards. Okay, now we're going to do some word problems. You are not going to be using a line. I will explain why. Okay. Alex's cat eats 3 cans of cat food in 5 days. Alex is going away for 30 days. A friend has offered to feed the cat. How many cans of cat food should Alex leave his cat when he's away? So I go yada yada yada, cans and days. Okay. So X is days, Y is cans. So per cans per day. You got to think a little bit here after what we've been doing. We don't know the cans per day. If you want to put M, you can. M times X. We're not going to need to make the line. It's not going to be what you think it is. Okay, so the cans is the Y, the days is the X. Time's always X. So you're not going to go 0, 1, 2. You're going to block it off. And then 3 cans goes with 5 days. You got 30 days, but you don't have the cans with it. That's because that's your job to figure that out. Now, you don't put B up here. You know what goes there. If the cat eats for 0 days, how many cans is he going to need? Probably 0, okay? So if B equals 0, I don't need the stupid line, okay? I can go line up the proportion. It's proportional. I can use a proportion where I can cross multiply and divide my way to the solution, but you've got to remember in a proportion. The Y has to go on top. Cans, days. So I should see 3 go over 5 and pick a variable. You can use Y or X, Y over 30 or X over 30. It doesn't matter, okay? And then you cross multiply and divide. 3 times 30 is 90, and then 90 divided by 5 is 18. I don't care what variable you use, but the answer is 18 cans, okay? Okay, next problem can be a little bit dicey. It's probably the worst one on the packet I'm doing here. 2 people are smashing boxes. I can smash and break down 14 boxes in 15 minutes. Another person can break and smash 14 boxes in 3 minutes. If we have 350 boxes to smash, how long will it take us if we work together? Okay. So boxes and minutes. Okay. Time is X, boxes is Y. So per. Boxes per minute. Okay. Well, we don't know that. Okay. Technically, there'd be 2 of these. Okay. So I'll make 2 tables because there's 2 people working here. So XY, XY, you have to have 2 separate tables. So boxes is Y, minutes is X. Okay, so we don't go 0, 1, 2 on either table. So we know we have 14 boxes in 5 minutes. We know the other one can do 14 boxes in 3 minutes. Now 350 boxes doesn't go on either table. We want to find 300 boxes, question mark, minutes, okay? Now, if you sit on your butt and don't work, you get 0 boxes, and likewise there. So if you're B, your y-intercept's 0, we don't mess with the line. We go right into a proportion, okay? So y over x. So y is boxes, x is minutes. Now you got 2 tables here, so you need to add another rate into the proportion, okay? So 14 over 5. Boxes on top, plus 14 over 3, 14 thirds. And then remember, 350 is boxes, and that belongs on top, okay? And then you don't know how many minutes, so x. Well, you still want to cross multiply and divide, you just need to add these fractions together, okay? You don't take 14 plus 14 and 5 plus 3. That's not how that works, okay? You have to get a common denominator, but I'm going to use my calculator to add the fractions. So 14 fifths plus 14 thirds. That is not good to have. If you have that, to get it into a improper fraction, you go second ABC. 112 over 15. That's a lot better. So that's a mixed number, but I want it improper so I can cross multiply and divide. So 15 times 350 divided by 112. 46.875. That's time. I could get a decimal on that. If you want a second PRB, you can. But okay, now a fraction word problem. We're going to do a fraction and percents here. Okay. 1/5 of, notice how that says of. If that says of after it, I'm going to be solving it with my little table there, okay? So this is a fraction problem. Fraction and actual. And of course, we're going to put total. 1/5 of the clowns in the circus had red noses. If there are 200 clowns in the circus, how many clowns had red noses, okay? So, up top, you put had red noses. You just put this with not. Now, a fraction, you put the 5 on the bottom, and the 1 had red noses. To find what goes here, you're going to take 5 minus 1, that's 4. Okay. What's the question asking me for? Because that's where I put the x. How many clowns had red noses? So I want this. I don't care about the not. This test, you will not need to find the not. Okay, so 200 clowns were in the circus. Well, that's your total. Okay, so 1 over 5 equals x over 200. Now cross multiply and divide, and you end up with 40. Okay. By the way, 200 clowns would be 40 clowns. Okay. Percent. I spent 20% of my paycheck on groceries. If I spend $300 on groceries, how much money is in my paycheck? Does a percent have an of after it? Aha, it does. So if it has an of, we go to our same box here. Instead of a fraction, it's a percent. Okay, so total on groceries, and then not. Okay. All right, so 100 is my percent total. 20% is on groceries, and then if you want to find the not, you can take 100 minus 20%, and that's going to be 80%. Okay. Okay, we will not need the not. Now, what are they asking me at the end? The comma. How much is in my paycheck each month? So that's where X is going to go. Are they asking me how much is spent on groceries? No, they're not. Okay, so we don't put X here. We put it here. They're asking me to find the total. Okay, $300 is what's on groceries. It says it so. So it's 20 over 100 equals 300 over X. So I cross multiply and divide. Okay. So 100 times 300 divided by 20, and I got $1,500. Okay, now the next one. A town's population has increased by 5%. The population was 10,000 people before the percent increase. How many people are there after? Does the percent say of? No, it doesn't, so don't make the box, okay? You're going to use your adjusted percent equation. Adjusted percent multiplied by the before amount. I'm going to write before equals the after amount, okay? You're going to have an equation that you're going to solve. Adjusted percent, because you don't just write 5. You take 100% and it says increase by 5, so you add 5%. That's 105%. Move that decimal twice to the left, please. That's 1.05. Now, they're asking me how many there were after, so that's X, okay? The before must have been 10,000. Okay, well, X is by itself, so I don't need to get X by itself. I just go multiply the other side, 1.05 times 10,000. 10,500 people. Okay, now, last problem. 2 cars travel for the same amount of time. One car averages 70 miles per hour while the other car averages 60 miles per hour. If the faster car travels 140 miles further, that means it goes an additional 140 miles. How many miles did each car travel? Now, there's 2 answers. Now, we're not setting up the boxes, lines, any of that. I'm giving you every clue in the world up there, okay? We want to use our old distance, speed, time table, okay? Do your speed first, that's your per. Then your distance second, distance would just be the miles without per. And then the time, which would be expressed in hours. So I just put 1 and 2. Now you got to get this right. We know the speeds. We got 70 and 60. Put your faster speed on top, your slower one on bottom. Now the distance, the miles, the only thing we know about that is that one car travels 140 miles further, okay? That doesn't mean either car went 140 miles, it just means this faster one has a 140 added to its distance. Now we don't know the miles, so we put X, and this is just going to be the X without the plus 140, okay? Now the time, the only thing we know about the times is that they're equal because they traveled for the same amount of time. We also know that time is equal to distance over speed. So distance is X plus 140 for that car and the speed is 70. We never actually get a divide because we don't know what X is, and X over 60. Okay, now line those up so they're equal. X plus 140 over 70 equals X over 60. Now I'd like to cross multiply and divide, but I can't. Okay, so I circle diagonally, and I call this A and this B, this C and this D. And I have to organize what I'm multiplying my A, B, C, D parentheses. So over here I'll be taking A times B, over here will be C times D. So A is X plus 140, and B is 60. C is X, C is 70. Now over here we have a plus, so we drop the plus, we take 60 times 140 and 60 times X. So 60 times X is 60X. 60 times 140 is 8,400. Over here you have no plus, you put 70x, okay? You don't distribute. Okay, now you got x's on opposite sides, take out the smaller one, so minus 60x from 70x, that's 10x. Then you divide by your 10 to get rid of your x by itself. And 8,400 divided by 10 is 840, okay? So 840, that's your first one. So these x's, both of them are 840. So 840 plus 140 is 980, so that's 980 miles, and then this would just be 840.